The Celtics, let's be honest, they don't have a 2. Avery Bradley's okay. He's not a guy who's going to win you a championship. They don't have a good 4 at all. Jaylen Brown's young. They have young guys, but they're not Terry Rozier I like coming off the bench.
Do you consider Horford a center?
On this team, yes.
Okay, all right. I just want to clear that up because I consider him a 4
Absolutely. I think if they got themselves a center, I think Horford moves back to the 4 and he plays a lot better than he has. But he's had to play the 5. You know, I think it's tough for me. I'm not sold on the Celtics. I like some of their young pieces. I think they should trade Isaiah Thomas. His value is never going to be higher. If the Nets wind up getting the first pick, and I do believe Markelle Fultz is what he really is going to be, you got yourself a franchise point guard. You can get yourself someone else in that draft right away. And you could go back to being a contender and you get free agents coming in, and you might have a team right away that could maybe contend with LeBron.
This is what I think really should have happened. Should have pushed harder for Jimmy Butler. Should have pushed harder for Paul George. Should have just grabbed Boogie Cousins for nothing, because he went for nothing. They gave up nothing for him. Think about it. All that stuff, they really gave up nothing. You didn't have to give up.
They gave 1 first rounder and a guy who might be good. You could have given up a guy like Jaylen Brown in that deal.
They're talking. Well, Buddy Hield actually played phenomenal with the Kings. They're talking about he's going to be a first team all rookie. He played that well with them, but we don't know how he's going to turn out. But they gave up nothing, the Pelicans, for Boogie Cousins. I would have given up my left leg, and I'm grabbing my right one right now. I would have given up my left leg for him, honestly, and they gave up absolutely nothing. The Celtics could have grabbed him, brought him on, and it could have worked out. That's their center. That's all they needed. They needed another big guy piece. And they're talking about culture and all that. Who cares about culture? You need to win basketball games and win championships. Who cares about culture? Who cares who's happy? Everyone's happy if you're winning.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a perfect analogy right there. Culture, it kind of takes a back seat. When you're in a win-now mode and you're winning games, culture doesn't matter. Kevin Love, Kyrie, and LeBron do not get along. All 3 of them. They are not friends. You don't see them taking snapshots together during the offseason. Oh, we're hanging out in Cancun. You don't see that. They go there, they do their job, they win. That's why they're successful. None of this. You can't have guys saying, oh, the culture wasn't right. He didn't fit right. He was a bit of a problem. If you're winning games, and we've seen teams fall apart because of this, saying, oh, there's one bad apple. I think that's ridiculous. It is. People say that about J.R. Smith. I'm not a personal fan of J.R. Smith. He's very opinionated. He's a little cocky. But you know what? The Knicks trade him over to the Cavs. Big piece for them to get into the finals.
Yeah, he got thrown in that deal. That was a throw-in.
He was a throw-in because they're like, take on our problem.
That's funny. That's awesome. That's the best throw-in ever. Yo, Danny, you want to just throw me in $100? I'll take that. That's like as a college student. That's being like, yo, I'm just gonna throw in $100 here when I buy you this water.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Cool. Like I needed that water because I'm thirsty, but I will gladly take that extra $100. That's what JR is. He's $100 to a college kid. Anytime you get thrown in when you're getting something, that's amazing.
Yeah. It blows my mind. So I agree with you on that. I think the culture change, when you go to a contender, your culture, it doesn't matter how you act. You're going to act like a professional. You're like, okay, I've never been in this. DeMarcus Cousins never been in that situation. Paul George has been in that situation, but his teams have fallen short. And a guy like Jimmy Butler, I'd be salivating at the mouth knowing I'm going to the Celtics. That a team that, a historic franchise like that, their rich history of winning, if you win in, there's 3 cities I say, New York, Boston, and Los Angeles. If you win in those cities, you are looked at like a god. You will never have to buy a steak dinner, a water, anything. You eat on the arm, you can do whatever, you can travel around the arm, around the city, whatever you want to do. If you win in those cities. I mean, yeah, maybe Philadelphia, but, I mean, that's a different story. But these guys, I don't understand how the Celtics didn't push for that. Now, I'm not saying that they can't still get these guys before draft day. I don't think DeMarcus Cousins, but I think they definitely could go after Jimmy Butler and Paul George. And now I'm even seeing comments surfacing around Carmelo Anthony.
I'd take any one of them. They need another star. The problem here is you have Isaiah Thomas, phenomenal. He's undersized. I know, like it's a big deal. He's still phenomenal, whatever. But to say that you have the Nets pick, and there's a 2-in-1 chance, or there's a 1-in-2 chance that they don't get the first or second overall pick. It's like, I don't know, it's like 33%.
You know what? That doesn't even matter. This draft class is so deep in guards that up until the 6th, 7th, even 8th pick, you can get yourself a quality point guard.
Yes, even further down. I'm just saying that if they get the top two, so they get Markelle Fultz or Lonzo Ball, it's a lock that they're getting one of them, or Josh Jackson. And the only problem with it is Josh Jackson is about 4 years away from really being something special, and we see it right now with Andrew Wiggins and Jabari Parker. Yeah, they were supposed to be amazing. That's what Josh Jackson is. And, they are coming into they're coming into it, but that's what Josh Jackson's going to be.
These guys are leaving at 18, 19 years old. You're not fully developed until about 21, 22. And that's what Jabari and Andrew Wiggins are. They're about 22, 23 years old, and we're seeing them finally take off, as well as Otto Porter. He's another kind of guy. These guys, you don't expect them to have a good year right away. And then all of a sudden, their expectations are like, oh, well, they've been in the league 3 years. Yeah, they're 21. They're still, if they stayed in college, they'd only be a senior. It'd be totally different. Their skill set is still not mature enough. But when they finally get there, you're like, wow, this pick looks great. I think any team that lands Josh Jackson is going to be phenomenal. I think the Suns are going to get him. Yeah,
probably. They're talking about even taking him at 2, which would be incredible for the Lakers because the Lakers really want Lonzo Ball. And it would make sense. I don't think the Suns really need a point guard right now. They can ride it with Bledsoe. Eric Bledsoe's pretty good.
Mini LeBron.
So
I think Devin Booker's great. I think any core you could build. I think you could win games with Tyler Ulis.
I think Tyler Ulis is phenomenal. I forgot about him, honestly.
He came on strong. They're guard heavy. They have Brandon Knight. Let's not forget Bledsoe, Ulis, Devin Booker. I mean, he can play the 3, the 2, and the 1 if you really want. His handles are unbelievable. If you get Jackson, that's insane. You got Marquise Chris, who phenomenal young player, and then you can go out there. You can get yourself a 5.
Well, they have Alex Len. He's 23. They had the youngest. All right.
The youngest starting lineup.
They had the youngest starting lineup pretty much ever, I think, in the NBA.
I think it was like comparable to Kentucky's team, college team.
They were younger than Kentucky's college team starting lineup. The only team they weren't younger than was the Purdue Boilermakers, and that was in like the Sweet 16. Like the teams left. I was like, wait a minute, you're kidding me. I thought that was a joke. I really did. That was incredible. They've got who's the high flyer? Derek Jones Jr. He dunks like a madman. If he could actually develop a game, that would be awesome. Like they're stacked with young potential.
Absolutely,
it's incredible.
I think the Suns in 3-4 years, I would not be surprised they're a top team in the West. Because let's be honest, we know Golden State's going to fall apart eventually. The Lakers will be good again. The Spurs, probably Popovich will probably be gone by then from the Spurs.
Who knows?
I think they're in trouble too.
Well, let's talk about that. Let's not even talk about the teams that are falling off. Let's get back to the playoffs here.
Yeah, I think the Spurs are eventually, their win now mode is about 2 years left. LaMarcus Aldridge played great when he was a Trailblazer. I think he's a terrible Spur. He doesn't buy into that team aspect. To me, he still doesn't fit that Spurs mold. For some reason, Pau Gasol, always been a team player. Worked great with the Lakers. Worked great with the Bulls for the 2 seasons he was there. He's kind of had a renaissance in his career. Understand he's hurt, come off the bench, now he starts again. He looks great. They're lacking in point guards too. Tony Parker's old. Manu Ginobili old. They could retire next season. Now, I don't really know if Patty Mills has what it takes. I think Patty Mills is very good. He's 29 years old. But he's getting up there as well. How many proficient years are you going to have? I think if any year is the year to trade up, the Spurs do it this year and get themselves a young point guard.
Okay. Okay, all right. Let me ask you this: Kawhi Leonard. One word. I want you to one word describe him. Not saying like basketball-esque. Just one word describe him.
Phenomenal.
All right, mine's awkward. I think he's just an awkward guy. You know, I like him. He doesn't talk much. It's just awkward for me. And I kind of think that him being the leader of that team is awkward in itself. And it just does something interesting. And it gives me an awkward vibe that he's the leader. And it's just, I don't even know how to put it any other way. It's so awkward because Tim Duncan's gone. Manu's not even.
Yeah, but you know what, though? Tim Duncan was awkward.
Yeah, I know.
He was awkward in that sense. But great player. Kawhi's a great
amazing.
player.
Yeah, no, Kawhi is great. It's just
Is it because Tim Duncan was a 7-footer?
No, I just think it's the whole Spurs-esque right now is awkward. I never thought it was awkward with Tim Duncan. I thought it just molded perfectly, and I don't think it fits perfectly right now.
They put, the misfits and misused, mistreated, misguided NBA players, and they mold them into superstars. That's what Greg Popovich does. You look at Danny Green. Danny Green was a Cavalier. Terrible. Everybody forgets he was a Cavalier. It's like, Greg Popovich is like Bill Belichick. They take broken pieces and make them whole again. That's what he does. Numerous guys. Patty Mills was a trailblazer. I guarantee you ask someone on the street or a basketball fan, oh, Patty Mills, what team did he play for? Spurs. They think the Spurs ref him. He's a trailblazer.
I'd go St. Mary's.
Yeah, that's one step further. But you know what I'm saying?
No, that's what I think of.
These people, they don't, the Spurs, they're a great organization. I think if there's any organization you should look at, the Spurs is the model organization. I like everything they do from top to bottom. They're coached well. They know how to draft. They know how to play, and they're professionals. You don't hear them talking out against referees. You don't hear them criticizing other players in the league, other superstars. They just play.